bit of standing poses, balance and focus. But then today's latter half of class, we're really going to focus on our arms and our legs, especially the hands and the feet. If you've been doing springtime activities like gardening or anything strenuous for a long time, hopefully this class is going to help you relieve some of that activity that may be still lurking in the body. So let's go ahead and meet at the back of the mat. And just coming into your practice, you can either set your intention, or if you just want to notice the breath, you can begin to arrive by just noticing the energy entering the nose and exiting the nose naturally. You'll notice whether your heart rate is faster than your resting heart rate usually is. You'll notice how the body is feeling the mat under the feet, and just giving ourselves the time to arrive in our first mountain. All right, let's begin to bring a little more focus to our breath, bringing our left hand to gently rest on our chest, right hand cradling the bottom belly right below the navel. With the next few breaths, we're going to slow down that breath length. Now see if you can inhale, feeling the air as it enters the body, expanding the rib cage, filling up the lungs. And at the top of the inhale, maybe the collarbones, the crown lifting even slightly, before you pause and start that slow, controlled exhale, feeling the air leave the lungs. And as you near the bottom of the exhale, slightly draw the belly button towards the spine as you gently activate, contract that lower belly, helping to press out all the air, even with that gentle press of the lower belly hand. Fully exhaled then, you can begin the next slow inhales and exhales in that same way. See if you can coordinate the long draw of the breath with an upward, energized movement. And then as you start that slow exhale, feeling that energy returning down the body vessel, through the feet, back to the earth, and gently firming the belly, the core, to help expel the air. And the last thing here is to set that sound, perhaps like an ocean, maybe hearing that in the soundtrack in the background. You might hear it like a deep sigh over the back of the throat, expansive back of the throat, to help really cultivate those inhale and exhale boundaries. And then connected to that Ujjayi breath all throughout our practice. Let's go ahead and release the hands to the side. You can lift up the toes, heels, rock a little bit on the soles of the feet. We'll be doing more rocking in just a moment. Standing up nice and tall in our mountain. Keep a deep bend as you need it, but as we return to each mountain, we're just getting a little taller, a little longer in the legs. So inhaling deeply, start to feel that lifting energy through the crown of the head, and you might start thinking about tilting forward, that center of gravity towards the toes and the feet, till you reach that edge. And then you can use your exhale to slowly roll the weight under the feet towards the heels, till you reach that tipping point almost. And then just use the next few breath cycles, find that forward to back center of gravity as it travels along the soles of the feet. And then we'll meet somewhere back at center of gravity, above the arches, nearer to the heels, settling back in. Inhale to reset the mountain. And then with that lift still there, we're just going to gently roll towards the outer right edges of our feet, to that edge, standing up right as best as possible. Inhale back up to center. And then exhale over for a 3-part breath. You can continue that way, inhaling up, exhaling over, or do a 2-part breath where you just inhale to one side and inhale and then exhale over to the other. Just whatever works for you. but coordinating the breath and the movement, and then finding ourselves somewhere back at center once we've discovered that. Resetting the mountain once more, lifting up nice and tall, seeing if we're just a tad bit taller. Let's go ahead and start making small circles in one direction. The body is upright, energized upward through the crown of the head, almost like a wooden spoon, stirring that pot, keeping contact at the bottom of that pot in one point, while the rest of us gets a little wider at the very top. Finding that edge, we tighten in the circles, meeting back at center like water going down a drain. Resetting the mountain once more. And then opposite direction of our circular path for a second round, trying to determine the perimeter edge of the feet, the center of gravity as it just slightly stirs around the soles of the feet there. And then tightening in the circles once we notice how that translates in the rest of our body. Coming back in our mountain, let's go ahead and lift the toes, lift the heels, shake out any residual. We're moving on up the body. And coming up to our hip lubrication of that joint area there, let's go ahead and inhale nice and tall in our mountain and bring some standing weight into the left standing leg. Feel that center of column from the left foot all the way up through the crown of the head. And if you find that stability is there, you can gently engage the core, the glutes slightly engaged, and then lift up your right foot. See if you can find that balance. If the balance is something you're working towards, you might have to tap down the ball of the foot or the toes, and that's fine. Just continue on. But if you're able to, then you can start swinging the foot forward and back, doing whatever you need to with your hands to help counterbalance. And if you fall out, that's okay. Tap down, come back up. And then getting some lubrication forward to back, then you can land that right foot gently. We'll go ahead and continue on. Hopefully standing left leg right now, and we're lifting the right foot, lifting up the sole, and then bending the knee inward to an outer rotation and gently landing the foot. Do that a total of 4 times into outer rotation of that hip by simply directing the bent knee towards the inner and then rotating it outwards to your edge. And yeah, it's a balance act as well. And then we will go ahead and reverse that, standing weight in the left leg once more, and then outer to inner rotation. And small to larger movements helps you to explore your boundary with less chance of surprises and achiness, injury. So we'll go ahead and rest that right foot down. You probably have a lot of undeactivated muscle here on the left side. So let's go ahead and try to release that by just kicking it forward, out to the side before you cross over. Do that a few times in however combination you like, but always front to the side before you cross over the midline. And then now that hopefully a little less tension is left over in that left leg, let's go ahead and move to the right. So standing nice and tall in our mountain once more, getting a little taller, a little longer in the legs, gentle tuck of the chin. Let's inhale, breathing, standing weight to the right side of the body, right leg. And then if you can lift up the left foot, see if you can balance for a little bit. If you have to tap down, that's okay. Making sure your gentle activation of that right side of the glute and the core and the right thigh, and then moving forward to back. Just get a little swing action, just a little bit. And then allow that left foot to land when you're ready. Then we're going to bring that standing weight back into the right leg. Once you're stable and supported, inhale, lift the left foot, bending the left knee, inner to outer rotation, small, especially if you have a tighter side. Start off small, and then get a little larger if that's available to you. And then we'll go in the opposite direction. Standing weight once more, right leg, inhale, left foot up, and outer to inner rotation. And some days it's a little choppier, some days it's smooth sailing. We'll see what sort of day you have. Just note it, and we'll move on. Standing back in our mountain. After we're done, you can go ahead and jiggle. You can have a little bit of forward to side, and then cross the midline, or whichever combination. Always forward to side before the midline. And then we're coming up to the shoulders. Now you can roll on the feet just a little bit to deactivate gripping of the mat. And palms facing forward, just a little taller. Feel that string at the top of the crown of the head lifting upward to help bring the ear aligned over the shoulder, over the hips, over the ankles. So palms facing forward, lifting up nice and tall through the crown of the head. Let's inhale, shoulders come up. And then exhale, roll them back and let them melt down the back. We're going to be doing a total of 4 of these. And each time you inhale up, feeling length, still keeping that length as you exhale to roll the shoulder girdle back and down, tucking in the tips of the bottoms of the shoulder blades into the mid-back, kind of tucking in your wings, so to speak. One last one as I exhale back, and then we'll repeat this, but this time inhaling forward and then exhaling forward. Inhaling up, exhaling forward, and then completely melting down on the exhale. And always slightly engaging that core at the bottom of the exhale helps to just stabilize and keep you upright and balanced. Okay, that was my last one. You can go ahead and reset into your mountain, and we'll start with our neck stretches. Nice and tall, lifting, reaching from the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. We're just going to exhale, the right ear dips towards the right side. Left shoulder is still in line with the right shoulder. Exhale it down and it lifted with the dipping. Inhaling, you'll find this lengthening even up through the chest. Exhale, turn the gaze if you haven't already. So you can get slight release, just a little more in that left side for the next 3 or 4 breath cycles. Inhaling keeps you upright, rooted, stable, and supported, while exhaling, hopefully you can just get a little more release, even resting the eyes to the far rightmost of your vision. Connecting to that Ujjayi breath. And then when you're done with your last breath cycle, we'll inhale the eyes, the gaze turns, the head is still lifting at the top of the inhale, so all you do is dip on over with the exhale to the other side. Inhaling to lift the chest, exhaling to turn the gaze, making sure anything on the right side, major joints like the shoulder, hip, or ankle, feels even and in line with its counterpart on the left here. Those slow, steady Ujjayi breaths. Melting the shoulders down the back. And then we can inhale the eyes, the gaze, the head all the way back up to center. And then allow the eyes to roll downward with the exhale, landing somewhere at the top of the mat. Inhaling a slight lifting at a diagonal. Exhale, still rolling, relaxing the shoulders down the back. See if your palms turned inward, face them forward. Relaxed arms, nice and heavy. Shoulders just nice and relaxed. And then after your very last breath cycle, inhale the eyes back up, past the center line, up towards the ceiling. And when you can see nearly above you, stop craning the neck. Lifting up with the inhale, you should feel this lifting all the way through the open throat of the front, chin even. And with the exhale, still rolling, relaxing those shoulders back and down. You can open the mouth with a small O to a large O, and it's a total of 4 breath cycles here as well. Gentle swaying of the lower jaw from left to right. And when you're done with your very last breath cycle, just allowing the eyes to float back down to center. And then go ahead and give yourself any jumping action, anything to kind of toss out any residual activation of muscles, and we'll move on towards our modified Sun Salutation. Starting at the back of the mat, hips distance apart in our feet in nice and tall mountain. Let's go ahead and inhale, reaching fingers down towards the floor, lifting up the arms above the head. Exhale, let's hinge at the hips. Keep the bend to the knees if you need. Come on down with a straight back. Halfway down, you can always walk the hands down. But see if you can just float down and allow about 5 deep, slow breath cycles to help the body especially the upper body release at that lumbar point right there. You can have a deep bend to the knees, and depends on where you are in your fold. You might need to have the forearms on the thighs, maybe the hands are on the ankles, the shins, maybe they're just loose and your body is just getting a little closer, the crown of the head inching a little closer as you breathe. Each deep inhale finds rib cage expanding. Each deep exhale, core gently presses out all that air, and the torso just gets a little closer to your thighs and the head, perhaps. See if you're holding on to the weight of your head with the neck muscles. We just want to release upper shoulder neck muscles by gently swaying the head from left to right, gently nodding the head forward and back. Then let the head dangle, hopefully, and let gravity help with the traction, a gentle traction on the neck. And if the palms are facing up, if the backs of your hands are on the mat, you can have a deep bend to the knees or you can have straight legs, but just by simply allowing yourself to release here, feeling that support right at the heels, somewhere at the top of the arches. And then we're going to prepare to come out with a slow roll up. We're going to engage the core. Start by pressing into the feet. Start to firm up the legs. Start to straighten up the legs. Back is nice and relaxed. Arms are relaxed. And we're just straightening up one vertebra at a time, allowing the blood to rush back up to the head as the head is the last to stack on the neck. Palms facing forward. Melt the shoulders down the back, away from the ears. A breath or two to collect yourself. And then we're going to have another forward fold, this time a little less time there. Let's go ahead and inhale, reaching downward. We're going to bring the arms up. Maybe the torso lifts at the top of the inhale. Exhale, let's hinge at the hips. Engage the core. Float on down to your second fold. It's only about 3 breaths here, so give yourself, some side-to-side movement of the sacrum. You can bend one knee, bend the other. See if you can straighten out both at the same time, or just keep a micro bend. And then notice if your hands are a little lower. We're going to turn into a half lift here. We're going to inhale, press into wherever your hands have contact. We're just going to lengthen from the tailbone to the back, through the crown of the head, looking straight down at the mat. We want to hold somewhat of a linear line from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Feeling that energy from the hips down to the heels supporting us, while that energy from the tailbone to the crown of the head is just moving away from the body at this maybe 50, 90 degree angle. Just depends on how deep that half lift is. And then exhale, release by bending the elbows, come back to the fold. And then you have a choice to do the slow roll up again or come up with a straight back. To do the straight back, inhale, extend those arms, firm the belly, press into the feet, and come up with a strong inhale. Otherwise, do your slow roll up and meet here gently. Hands down, heart center. And we'll start our walking meditation, pressing into the hands, inhaling, standing weight into the left leg, lift the right foot. Exhale the heel, ball of foot and toes down. Inhale, left foot up. Exhale the heel, ball of foot and toes down. If you feel a little wobbly, press into the palms. Gentle activation of your core helps to keep you upright and balanced. And as we meet at the top of the mat, looking down at the fingertips, let's press into the palms. Inhale, watch the fingertips rise. Exhale, separate the hands and hinge at the hips. Bend the knees if you need. Come on down for a fold. Fully exhaled here. Inhale, half lift, nice and long. Spin the sits bones back, nice long back. Exhale, fold. Plant the hands to either side of the feet. Step a right foot back and then a left foot. Nice and long body. Inhale, shoulders over the wrist. And then drop your knees gently, untuck the toes, and let's keep our strong upper body here. We're doing a very modified high plank. It helps us to really strengthen the upper body. Engage the core. Draw that belly button towards the spine. Press into those long extended arms, shifting the shoulder ball joint away from each other, away from the spine to keep an open upper back. And maybe retracting, tucking into the mid-back, those angel's wings, the bottoms of your shoulder blades. Let's go ahead and inhale, tuck the toes, lift up the hips. Exhale, push the hips back towards your dog. Wherever those heels land, just let them be. Give yourself 5 really good deep breath cycles. You can cycle out the legs. You can pause from one cycling of the leg to the other. You can do a little faster. You can sway the hips. Maybe make some infinity symbols, lemniscats. Shapes with the hips. Get it a little lubricated. Notice where your head is. See if you can have those ears somewhere in between the inner arms. Cricks of the elbow facing the front of the mat. Points of the elbow facing the back. And if you're feeling like the heels of your palms are just supporting way too much weight, splay those fingers. Make sure the index and middle fingers are towards the top. And you've got a little bit of distribution of weight from the heels all the way through each of those fingertips. And then next thing to do is roll to the tippy toes on the next inhale, really lifting up the heels, lifting up the hips. Exhale, press once more into those long arms, lower down the heels, let them be where they are. And then let's look to the hands and walk the hands on the exhale, fully carving out that belly so you can come into your fold. Exhale completely. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come up with long extended arms or slow roll up. Exhaling, hands down, heart center. I'm going to step back. And next, walking meditation. Inhaling, right foot up. Exhaling, right foot, ball of foot, toes down. Inhaling, left foot up, left heel, ball of foot and toes. Inhaling, exhaling, a breath cycle akin to one step. Engaging the core to keep your balance. And then we'll meet at the top of the mat, looking down at the fingertips, pressing. Let's inhale, watch the fingertips rise. Exhale, separate palms and hinge for your fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step one leg, the other leg. Shoulders over the wrists, nice and long, high plank this time. Feel the energy from the heels all the way to the crown of the head, engaging that belly, drawing the belly button towards the spine. Inhale, lift up the hips. Exhale, push back to down dog. Couple of breaths here. Walking the dog. Notice if your heels are a little lower. See if you need to extend through the upper torso. Imagine that line from the hands all the way up to the hips. One energy line. That line from the heels all the way up to the tailbone. Another energy line. And at that apex, the hips lifting upwards. Core sticking to the spine, to the pelvis. With the next inhale, let's go ahead and walk the hands to the back, to the feet, to our fold. Fully exhaled here. Let's inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, engage the core. Press into the feet. Come on up with a strong inhale. Exhaling, hands down to heart center. Hands down to the side, palms facing forward. Let the arms relax along the side and the back. Shoulder blades melt. And then we'll go ahead and turn for a standing position. Let's go ahead and facing the center of the mat, or just for me, you be where you need to be. For your tree, we're coming into a tree with feet apart, just noticing how we're feeling. Go ahead and roll on the soles of the feet. See if you can bring a little more center of gravity back towards the heels. And then we're going to breathe. Inhale, standing weight to the left standing leg. Go ahead and lift that right heel. And then externally rotate the right hip. Just turn it. And then you can bring the sole of the foot, the ball of the right foot, and rest that right heel on the left ankle. Get your stability here if that's feeling pretty stable with your tripod at the feet, and try not to hyperextend your left knee. We're opening up through the right hip. If everything from the hips down is feeling pretty good there, then you can inhale, engage the core slightly to keep upright and balanced, pressing into the palms if you start to wobble. And at this point where you find your sweet spot, hands in prayer, breathing 5 good deep breath cycles. You can grow your branches out if you like at that point. It's up to you. Or you can just stay in hands in prayer. But finding that stability in the feet, in that left standing leg, all the way up through the crown of the head. Noticing if you're lifting the shoulders, see if you can let them relax, engaging the core. And then with your last breath cycle, you can release the hands. Internally rotate that right hip and then allow the right foot to land gently. Go ahead and kick out that residual activation in the left side of the body. And we'll move over to the right leg. Inhaling standing weight to the right leg, feeling nice and stacked. Ankle under the knee, under the hip, under the shoulders, under the ear. Lifting up the left heel, exhaling to rotate the left hip and bringing that left ankle to rest on the right ankle. Left heel to rest on the right ankle. And then find your stability there. Once that's there, bringing hands to heart center, slightly engaging the core to keep you balanced and upright. Notice if your right hip is jutting out, see if you can keep it upright. Gentle tuck under of the tailbone. And you can grow out the branches of your tree if you'd like. Pinky fingers towards the inside, facing the backs of the hands towards away from you. And again, it's 5 full breath cycles here. Connecting to the Ujjayi breath. Feeling the energy from the roots of your feet traveling up the trunk of the body, releasing through the crown of the head and the fingertips, if you will, if they're branched out. When you're ready to come out, inhaling the palms together if they're overhead, bringing hands down, heart center, and finally down to the side. And then let's internally rotate that left hip before we land the left leg. And again, any residual activation of the right glute, right quads, even in the ankles and the calves. Before that midline is crossed, get the forward to the side, release. And then we'll move on over to, let's see how much time we have. We are coming up to half, and I was going to introduce a lot of stuff for the upper body and the bottom. So we're going to skip the usual low lunge because we're still going to get a lot of hip opening down here. We're going to start down on the mat. So come on down, however is comfortable for you. Just realized if you have difficulty walking down there, if you have that chair handy, sometimes just having the hands down on the chair, helping you to bring the knees down, and then come on down. But we're just going to meet in a staff position, and I'll turn the perspective of this in a bit. But starting off with just finding that comfortable spot on the sits bones. Now don't worry about where your feet are, but basically if you can feel like there isn't any gluteal flesh, causing you to be tilting, we want to have the sits bones nice and rested, evenly on the mat, supporting the body, and also not turning from one side of the mat or to the other. And all these little things, it's just something to keep in mind. Don't worry too much about it. Eventually it'll become instinctual, like second nature. But notice if you're sitting evenly on the sits bones, where that pelvic bowl is tilting. Is it pitched forward? You'll notice that's kind of the sign of a duck butt sort of habitual posturing. We want to pull the top of the shoulder, top of the pelvic bowl back, tuck under the tailbone, and you'll find that the spine might still be pitched forward a little bit, but you might be able to lift up and then bring the shoulders back to bring that spine to sink directly into the seat of the pelvic bowl. And then hopefully the ear, again, over the shoulder, over the hips, a nice strong back, nice and lifted. And what we're going to do is start with our fingers and toes in this staff position. Don't try to really activate this staff. We just want a gentle activation of those muscles to keep in this upright 90-degree angle. And then we'll focus on other parts of the body. So a gentle engagement of the core, bringing the hands to rest, palm side up on top of the thighs. Let's go ahead and just wiggle the fingers. It's almost like you're, just putting some little balls in the hand and kind of rolling them around. Imagine that. Also with the toes, just, try to get some space between each and every digit there. Okay, and then let them rest. Now, what we'll do is splay the toes out. Hold it for a second, and then exhale, release. So you can do this with your hands resting, palms up. We're going to splay the fingers, splay the toes, and then let them relax. All right, then the next thing we'll do is we're going to point the toes and the hands, and you notice that the hands can be either palm side down or palm side up. You get to play with that a little bit. So pointing the toes, arms are nice and relaxed at the sides or the elbows. So hands are pointing forward just like the toes are pointing forward, and then let's flex the feet and flex the wrists to your ability. Do that a couple more times. Forward, hold it. Flex it, hold it. And you're breathing hopefully with this. One more flex forward, one more flex up. Then we're going to turn the palms up, and we're going to point again, really reach out those fingertips, and then we're going to lift up the palms again. It's not too much, but then you'll get this nice stretch of the forearms underneath the undercarriage of the forearms. Just a couple times there, a couple sets. Then shake out your hands, then let them rest palm side up next to you. We're going to shake those feet too. See if you can get the entire leg to roll at the hip level. Not the knee, not the ankle. It's the entire leg. Rotation in, out, in, out. It's just a little bit. You can tap out the legs too. And then now we're going to bring in the left leg, drawing in. Externally rotate that left hip, draw in the left sole of the foot along the right side of the leg, and bringing it up as high as is comfortable. You can start at maybe the calf and see if it can get any higher after that. You can have it at, that inner part where the knee is. You can have it at the inner thigh. You can have the left heel touching the perineum. But we want to maintain that upright position of the staff. If you started to pitch forward, then come on out. Maybe you need to lower the leg a little bit, down the foot, down the right leg. Maybe you need to just notice where this left hip is feeling the pressure and whether that left knee is up or not. And once we're there, then let's go ahead and bring up the arms. And then let the arms float back down. One more time, bringing up the arms, reaching up, maybe the torso lifts, and then floating the arms back down. Just let the elbows release. We'll go ahead and internally rotate the hip up as we extend that foot and leg down. Go ahead and tap it out. One more roll to the left with both legs. One more roll to the right with both legs. Tap it out, and then let's draw in the right leg. We're externally rotating that right hip, bringing in the right sole of the foot along the left leg, giving ourselves 3 breaths or so to see where we can find that final position where we just breathe. Well, my right foot is not coming up as high on this leg, so just something to notice. We don't want to feel pinching, but there may be a little tightness, a little discomfort. Just not electrical pain. So notice where your intensity level is. Once you find that, then just breathe. Make sure that you're not pitching forward the torso. That's usually an indication. Any lifted body parts to get where you are, that's usually an indication that you need to relax those muscles that don't need to be a part of this position. Or maybe you've gone in just a little too deeply and therefore these other muscles are kind of compensating. So just visual cues for your own boundary and edge. All right, let's go ahead and inhale that right hip inward, extending the right leg, and then again, rolling towards the right, and then to the left, holding it a little bit, and then shaking that out. Now I'm going to turn to the side so you have the ability to see, sitting in an upright, easy seated position. And you can still be turned the other way, but I want you to be able to see one leg out in front of the other. Notice which shin is at the top and which shin is in towards your groin. You'll be switching that up later. I have my right one on top. Standing up nice, sitting up nice and tall, drawing from the perineum. Imagine that's your root and you're growing that spine directly up and above, and that energy is lifting through the crown of the head. We're going to relax the shoulders and focus now a little more on this upper part of the body. So keeping the hands nice and relaxed, palms facing up, and elbows are close to the sides. We're going to relax those shoulders, really make them relaxed. And then cradle the right hand underneath this left elbow and bend the elbow, drawing with your right hand the elbow to about chest level. Left palm is facing you. So as you're here, take that moment to feel that energy once more from the root of the perineum, from the tailbone all the way up the spine, up the crown of the head, lifting up here. Nice and deep inhale. Exhale, slowly guide the elbow towards the center of the chest across that horizontal line. Let the hand be soft. You don't have to really actively lift up the fingers, but you want to draw in that elbow, feeling that openness in the back of the left shoulder blade, especially along that upper shoulder blade area, near the cervical area of the spine. Inhaling 3 good breath cycles here. We're just inhaling to feel length, feel energy entering the body, and on the exhale, allow the core to slowly draw the navel towards the spine, engaging the core to help expel the air. And maybe you can bring a little more release to that left shoulder girdle, drawing in the left elbow towards the center of the chest, just a little more. Feeling if you are actually bringing that elbow closer towards the center of the chest, that this left elbow, left shoulder ball joint is really moving away from the body, trying to find that length in the left side of the upper shoulder blades, muscles of that connect to the neck, and have that upper shoulder area. All right, let's go ahead and release and just let the left arm float back down. Try to release the activation of these upper shoulder body muscles. Just try to let it release. You can shake it out a little bit. Sometimes that helps. And then we're going to inhale, bring the arm to extend away from you, and turn the palm away from you towards the back. Add again the shoulder length, bringing the right hand underneath the armpit. See if you can pull a little bit of your pec underneath the armpit, the pec muscles towards the center of the chest while you are reaching away from you. If you start to pull muscles, stop doing that. But if you're really super tight, you might find a little pulling action on that deltoid. We're really trying to stretch and then release. Let that hand shake it out. Let the hands release from the body. We're going to do that one more time on the left side. So inhaling, cradle the left elbow, bring it up to the chest level, left palm facing you, nice and tall at the top of that inhale. And then exhale, allow the air to leave with the folding in of that elbow. Engage the core. I've noticed that I'm now tilting back. See if movement in any of these transitions gets you out of your pose. If you can come back into the base of your foundation. We're going to inhale, allow that elbow to move out, and draw this right hand right underneath the upper arm of this left arm, into the armpit and grab a hold of the pecs one more time. And then this time, stretching out even further, but making sure your spine is nice and long. And you can maybe even curl the fingers back behind you. But again, it depends on your limits and your ability. So you got a nice stretch here, and then shake it out and release that hold. We'll be doing the same thing to the other side in just a moment. Give yourself any counter stretching if you need to roll that left shoulder. Take a deep breath. And then we'll move on to the other side. Let's switch that top leg with the other one. You might need to bring out the leg and then switch it off. Now my right shin is in towards the groin, and the left shin is now at the top. Nothing is resting on top of a knee or ankle joint. There's lots of space. And again, if you're in an even easy seated position and your knee is just not making it to the floor, you're finding a great deal of pressure, tension, contraction at the hips and the knees, bring a block underneath the knee. That sometimes helps. And then you can also bring out the feet further from the perineum. You just want to feel like you've got even support to your best ability. Out the sits bones. Okay, let's go to the right side. So sitting nice and tall, crown of the head lifting, nice and long back. Let's go ahead and cradle the left hand underneath the right elbow, bringing it up to the shoulder level, to the chest level, right about here. Palm facing you. We're going to inhale. Feel that length from the tailbone all the way through the crown of the head, lifting up even through the chest. And then exhale, draw the elbow towards the center and keep that ball of the right shoulder here moving in that direction and then down when you find that edge. You're opening up hopefully all of this musculature, the trapezius, which is on top of the rhomboids, all of these muscles helping to do minute movement of the shoulder blades. So if you've been doing a lot of crafting, a lot of digging, a lot of whatever with your hands, you may find a lot of release this way. And of course, it was that 3-breath cycle that we wanted to really keep nice and slow to facilitate the release in the upper shoulder of the right shoulder girdle. And then we can release, bringing it out and then letting it float back down. Give yourself a nice little jiggle, roll of that right shoulder. And then we're going to extend the arm. Right arm goes out. You're just turning the palm, it was facing up, and just turning the palm away from you and then finding that stretch. You can get a hold of the pec muscles underneath the armpit, hooking those fingers underneath there, gently holding on, and really seeing if you can stretch that out to your ability. If you find anything pulling, super tightness, just release, go in the opposite direction to keep that contraction, that pulling from going on. Sometimes I've just been so stiff, that happens, and you just have to come out of it and go back in with less intensity or just no intensity. Anyhow, our second round of this right side. Inhaling nice and tall, bringing the left hand to cradle that right elbow and drawing in the arm. Nice and loose. We don't want activation of this right arm because it will inhibit our stretching. We're stretching all of these muscles, the delts, the triceps, parts of the biceps, all of this nice stretching here, all the way towards the center of the spine, wrapping around that shoulder. So give yourself 3 good deep breaths here. Each inhale may even find the torso lifting, energizing upward, that crown of the head, that focal points. Lifting upward, exhaling fully, drawing in the elbow as that space is available to you. And remember, with the humerus into the socket of the shoulder, moving out, away from the body, and then down, you'll find that nice stretch to the back of the neck, even. And then let's go ahead and start sliding the palm underneath the right arm into the armpit, grabbing a hold of that pec muscle, cooking the fingertips right there. And we're just going to do that same motion once more. Just bringing the back of the hand, stretching out. And you might even bring the neck just a little bit. It just depends. You can, give yourself just a little bit more. See how that works. And then turning the arm back with the exhale. Nice and slow rolls to release any activated muscles that didn't turn off when we were done with that. Okay, Now as we go through there, we're going to bring the hands out once more. Let's see how we're doing with time. Really nice. Resetting into our easy seated once more. We're bringing the arms to the sides, palms facing up, and then lifting the arms out to our side and bringing them up above our head. And then exhale, we'll sweep the hands out, leading with the chest, getting nice and long from the tailbone all the way through. And reaching with the arms as our chest lifts and pulls forward, and then inhaling, arms up. Lifting up. If the hands, palms can touch, that's great. Exhaling, sweep them back. Fully pushing out all the air, engaging the core, reaching back. Inhaling up once more. And then hands down, heart center. Inhaling, hands back up gently. Releasing the hands and turning while we're still lifting the torso, the center of the torso and the shoulders all as one unit towards the right until we stop. And then we exhale, left hand lands gently on the right thigh, right hand somewhere at the right hip, maybe even behind you. See if that feels okay on your shoulders, see if you can place the back of the right hand to rest right at the back side. You might be able to put the back of the hand on the sacrum. Remember, this right shoulder needs to be nice and released. If it's really tight, don't go any further than this. If it's nice and loose and you want more of a release, we're keeping that right shoulder nice and long. I'm going to turn around to show you that you can place this hand at the beginning here, at the back of the mat, maybe at the back side, on the back sacrum, up the back. But as you move above this sacrum area, you really need to be careful of this right shoulder. We're going to have this right elbow and shoulder nice and relaxed up here, and then it's just bending the elbow to bring your hand, if it's available to you, eventually to a half prayer behind the back. Chest is lifted, and you're getting this tremendous stretch to the bottom of this forearm, to the fingers, to the hands, and then you release. If you're up here at the mid-back in a half prayer, just start to slide the back of the hand down, and then as your hand reaches the floor, one more time here, just bring your hand back, palm down, and then let the arm, that right arm, just be nice and loose. See if you can release everything in this right shoulder. You might have to forward roll, back roll, and then jiggle, let it loose, and it just sits and relaxes. And then we'll do the same thing with the other side. So turning to the left side. Okay, let's go ahead and inhale. Both hands come up. And then exhale, allow the left hand, here we go. Both hands come up, and then turn the torso. Sorry about that. And as we turn the torso, one unit as we both face, as we face the center of the chest towards that left thigh, then we can exhale the hands downward. Right hand lands on this left thigh, left hand somewhere at the left hip or behind. Maybe even at the back of the hand turns to rest at the back side. And upper body, this is all upright, nice and released. We're just climbing that left hand, bending at the elbow, keeping the left shoulder nice and relaxed, left elbow close to the rib cage. And if the left side is available to us, we can bring that hand to a half prayer. And again, keeping everything upright, shoulders relaxed, left elbow. The only activation really is when you bend it and placing the hand where it may. And coming out, releasing that hand. If it's at the mid-back, let it slide the back of the hand down the sacrum, back to the mat, and then just bring it on over. Drag the fingers and allow the hand palm to rest on the mat and let that left shoulder relax. You might need to face the palm up. Do what it feels good with the placement of your palm, but just let it be nice and relaxed. It can even be cradled in your thigh. All right, and We have one more. And sitting up nice and tall, we're going to do somewhat like a cat-cow. So, keeping the shoulders now, these cactus arms here, we're going to go ahead and bring the right elbow in with the left hand and just bringing it here. See if you can bring the right palm to rest on the forehead. If not, just have it out in front. But if you rest it on the forehead, we're keeping this nice upright position, and then we're going to start to curl forward, allowing the upper body to curve. And you'll find that upper back is just getting the stretching. The shoulder blades are moving away from each other. Let me turn around. So as the upper shoulders start to curve forward, the shoulder blades are moving away from each other. Those little wingtips we talk about at the on the bottom of the shoulder blades, they start to retract towards the spine and tucking into the back. So when you have your shoulder blades, something like this, we're really moving the shoulder blades away at the top, while at the bottom where the wingtips are, they retract in towards and into the back, mid-back. So as you're doing that, you're getting this nice wide opening while you've got that opening still in the upper back from that elbow fold to the center of the chest. So as you're finding more release, you're just keeping that opening in the upper back. The mid-back to the lower back is still pretty much upright here. The curving is only up here. You're not resting your chin on the chest. We're hopefully feeling that upward and just a slight curling over. And then let's inhale to straighten the back, release the hand, release the back of the hand to the sacrum, shake that shoulder up and down, see if it releases. You may gently turn the head to the left to release the right side. Let's inhale back to center, bring the right arm back. We'll go to the other side, and hopefully I won't lose orientation here. So here we are. We're bringing in the shoulder once more. Now it's a little easier to just come into this fold. Rest the palm on the forehead if that's available to you. Inhale nice and tall through the crown of the head, and then start to curve the upper body. And I'll turn to the side so you have that curling action from the upper part of the body more apparent to you. While the mid to lower back is still pretty much upright, you're feeling this nice opening at the top of the shoulders. And once again, just simply making sure your chin isn't resting on your neck, but you're feeling that upward and just slight curving. So it's still like a lifting at a diagonal motion of energy in your body, so you don't just collapse onto your chest with your chin. And each successive exhale until you get to your very last one, engaging the core, hopefully feeling the release of the shoulder ball joints moving away from each other while the wingtips of the shoulder blades move toward each other. Everything tucking into the mid-back, melting down the back and tucking in to the mid-back at the wingtips. And then we'll come out of that by inhaling to straighten the spine, releasing the hands, releasing the arms, and we'll move into our Shavasana. So getting onto the back as comfortable as is possible for you. We'll have a 5-minute Shavasana. And once you get there, just make sure you don't have any folded skin. Legs can be apart, feet towards the corners of the mat, or they can be together, just allowing the feet to roll away. And as you get down into your Shavasana, and I'll be sitting up to mind the time, just think about softening the body, just letting go. And if anything should come up, once again, just returning to the breath helps you to reconnect to that parasympathetic side of the nervous system and help to restore the body's own intelligence and system to homeostasis, hopefully. So release the tongue from the roof of the mouth. And when you hear the 3 bells, we'll awaken from Shavasana. Bring the mind back to the body. Come on back. Go ahead and wiggle your toes, fingers, rock the body. Returning to the vessel for the second time today, perhaps. Feel free to make any movements that brings you to an easy upright position, either in staff or with one leg out in front of the other. But we'll go ahead and end class with a breathing exercise, our alternate nostril breathing, to help find balance and a little more energy after that brief rest. So sitting nice and tall, let's go ahead and bring the left hand to our chin mudra, our hand position of index finger to thumb, just resting the back of that hand on the left thigh. Right hand in our Vishnu mudra, index middle finger on the mount of the thumb, closing our right nostril with the right thumb, left nostril with the right ring fingertip. Or you can do this hand position of fingers to the brow, closing with the right thumb and knuckle of the right ring finger for the left nostril. Let's go ahead and have a nice, tall, deep inhale here. Closing the right nostril, let's exhale through the left. Slow, steady, feel all the air leaving the body. Draw in the belly button. Press the core gently to expel the last of the air at the bottom of the exhale. Inhale slowly, feel the energy drawing from the root through the spine, through the crown of the head, chest expanding, collarbones lifting. Exhale, close the left nostril. Bring the Ujjayi breath in. Inhale through the right. Close. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Close. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Close. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Last round. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close. Exhale through the right. Release the hand. Release the mudras. Let the body and the breath return to its natural state. Bring the hands to heart center. Thank you so much for joining us here at the ACC Zoom room in the community room. I hope you feel a little more like yourself and that you have a wonderful day. Namaste.